Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I hope you guys are doing wonderful and had a great weekend. And thank you so much for being here with us today. My gosh, it has been one heck of a weekend for me. And today we have a wonderful show for you guys. I do have Barry Littleton here in the studio today. We're going to be getting into some really interesting and weird topics in regard to reptilians today. And I don't know if you guys watch Jimmy Kimmel. I don't. But there was a very interesting little conversation he had last week with Kate Beckinsale, the actress, talking about someone laying some eggs. And I don't know, it could have some reptilian vibes to it. We're going to talk about that today, plus much more. Okay, so much more. Y'all know we always bring the interesting conversations to the public with Barry and I. And also, I know I'm unfortunately I lost a very good friend yesterday. And if I'm looking aloof and feeling a little aloof today, I am very much heartbroken over losing my very good friend, James Rink, yesterday. Y'all know James. He has been on the show here on my channel, the Cryptid Hunters channel, many times. And he and I have spent a lot of time together since the day that we met. And so I'm still trying to process this right now. But he did pass away yesterday, and Barry and I we're going to talk about James a little bit today before we get the show started. And yeah, so y'all please send prayers to James's family and all his friends. And he is a pioneer in the disclosure movement in regard to the secret space program. And he is very much missed, and he will be missed. And so, all right. If you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows and to check out my social media links and things like that, please go over to my website. That's the cryptidhuntress.com. And you guys can find all of my shows over there and my calendar of events. I don't have any events coming up this month in December. It is December, y'all. It's Christmas. Oh my gosh, where did this year go? It's just flown by. But I do have some events, January, February, and March. We've got events on the calendar already. So y'all come out and see me at some of these events that I'm going to be at. Okay. Also, I do have a Patreon if you guys would like to support my work. And also thank you so much to everybody who's been buying items out of my shop over on Etsy. It's called War Woman Goods. And I do have vintage Native American type jewelry and more over there. So thank you guys so much for all your support. It means the world to me. Okay, well, let's get our show today. Okay, and I'm going to bring Barry up. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and read the summary of what we're going to be talking about today, and then I'm going to bring Barry up. But we've got more to talk about. Okay, so today we are exploring recent strange reports and research on reptilian humanoids. And like I said last week on the Jimmy Kimmel show, Kate Beckinsale claimed that her daughter's boyfriend laid 2 eggs. Okay, this weird claim could be a joke, or it could also be disclosure. Some claim that medieval knight's armor was also an exoskeleton. We're going to talk about that today because they were actually reptilians underneath that armor. Now, not all of them, but some of them may have been reptilians. And we're going to get into that today. And also, we're going to get into why the real gigantic bells were confiscated and destroyed It also has something to do with reptilians. And then we're going to get into some new contacts that have hit the market. I don't know if you can buy them freely right now, but some infrared contacts that allow you to see not only in the dark, but while your eyes are closed, you can see. And people who are testing them out are claiming that they are seeing interdimensional beings, very much like that dicyanin dye goggles. Okay. So, you guys, please help me welcome to the show my co-host for the day, and my longtime friend and colleague here, with all of this information that Barry and I, we've done a lot of work together. And Barry's also a good friend of James Rink as well. And please help me welcome to the show, Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry.
Greetings, my friend. Snow setting in where I'm at. Fun. I'm no great fan of the snow by any means.
Oh no.
Thanks for having me on. I got to tell you, you're taking me down the rabbit hole yet again. These are two situations that I've not heard of. So it'll be interesting. You know, people in this. So now basically people are getting demon contact lenses. I mean, the red lenses. That's what. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the dicyanin dye goggles, but in a contact form now. And I'm going to pull up a website today, and we're going to go over these articles today. And yeah, people were actually, the people who were testing them had to quit testing them because they were seeing interdimensional beings like monsters with claws and stuff all around them and coming towards them. And one person even said that as it approached them, this monster, it went through their body. Okay, so it was like something that it was almost like a hologram, but it was some kind of interdimensional thing they were seeing, and it freaked them out so bad they had to quit testing the contacts. And I don't blame them. I don't. Apparently, they're going to try to tweak them a little bit and make it where they could see in the dark, and then they take out the interdimensional being side aspect of those contacts. But I don't think the world's ready for that yet. I don't think they're ready for it. I'm not. I don't think.
Yeah. Do you know what that reminds me of?
What does that remind you of?
You know me. I always use entertainment references. That's what spirit brings to me, or just what I can recall always. There's a movie from a novel by H.G. Lovecraft. It's called From Beyond. And during that movie, it's a book but a movie too, and during the movie, they show you that there's actually this thing that they call it the resonator, this quantum-looking machine, and when they turn it on, it vibrates the pineal gland, so that your pineal gland becomes much more active and alive. And the first thing when they generate it in the field of energy, you start seeing these things that look like piranha floating around everywhere in the room, and these different beings. And the cats be like, "Don't move! Why? Because they'll see you."
He's like tripping out.
They can't see us without the resonator, but it's on. You know, so but that's just something. And then there was a big one that came that was, as he said, bit the people's head off like a gingerbread man.
Oh,
anyway,
God.
that was the line. But seriously, what you're describing though is kind of similar to that. And it got to a point where too much exposure to the field of energy from the resonator would cause actually the pineal gland to emerge as almost a separate organ and move around. It's kind of interesting movie, but these goggles seem to have contacts seem to have that same effect. And you know, it's traumatizing because the demonic and the dark is so accessible here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It roams around. It's just a frequency off. These beings that eat us, that use us as food. And go ahead and say your word, loosh.
Loosh, yeah.
Anyway, that's just neither here nor there. We have something else that we want to talk about too. But that's interesting. I've not heard about this, so it'll be interesting to do some research on it, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I want to thank Amariel Darkflame. Thank you so much. My condolences and prayers. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate that. And also, Shelly. Thank you, Shelly Montgomery. Hugs to Jessica. Sorry for your loss. Thank you, Shelly. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate that. Barry, you know, we got to acknowledge James right now. you know,
Absolutely.
and he is a dear friend to both you and I, and we've both spent a lot of time with James, and I don't know,
You,
I know,
can I say something about him? Honestly,
yes,
and
please, yes,
it's cool because, okay, I'm very candid about everything. You know that I don't hold
yes,
back on
very,
much, and I don't normally keep my mouth shut. It's so interesting because James and I had a rough start.
I know you
And it
did,
started the first conference we were at. And, he
right
kept,
here,
yeah, he kept coming up and interrupting me, and I'm not accustomed to that. And he didn't introduce himself. It was just very rude, and to be honest with you, it pissed me off. And I was not a big fan of his. And I
no,
had at that point right there, I had said that. I said, I'm not a fan. I stepped in front of him. I said, hey man, you keep interrupting me. You won't introduce yourself, yada yada. And then he says, oh, I maybe I could help you with some of your experiences. I was like, what? I'm not SSP, and Tyler ran over there and interjected. And that was kind of my perception of him. So I was rather public that I didn't care for him much. Okay. I didn't hide that. All right. Then I encountered him a second time in Asheville about a year ago, just over a year ago. And the first thing he does, Jessica, he walks up to me. We're all sitting there to like get ready to introduce ourselves, just the beginning ceremony. And he walks up and he said, "Hey Barry, how you doing?" Shakes my hand. That caught me off guard. Then he sits right next to me. Okay. And then before we could eat dinner, I got like, people don't know who I am until maybe I'll say something and it just catches people's attention and they'll start talking to
mhm,
me. So I couldn't get to the dinner table. And just when I get there, there's like nowhere to sit in that room. And first of all, it's a little bit stressful because good people, but it was mostly like a vegan diet. And her brother might want like a nugget or a rib or something. And I wound up sitting at this table. There's just a few of us, and James is one of them. He's sitting like right, really close to me, and he keeps engaging me the entire dinner thing. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is blowing me away. So then most people leave. I tell them, I say, hey man, I'm not a big fan of yours, man. The way we kind of initially met, you kind of ticked me off a little bit, and I'll never forget it. He looks at me and he says, Barry, I'm so sorry. He said, I've got something kind of similar like Asperger's, and sometimes I'm really rude to people and I don't mean to be. And I've offended so many people, and a lot of people hate me because of it. He said, I'm really sorry. And it was so heartfelt. And I just said, hey, man, I said, hey, man, we're all good. I said, because when I came in after that one night and I saw you doing the breakdancing, he was spinning with his glove and everything. He had his jam box. I said, man, I'm not seeing anybody breakdancing since 1982 or 83.
that's right,
I said, I knew that, there
yeah,
was something unique about you. I said, don't worry about it. And then we wound up like hanging for that entire conference. He wound up coming to Spain at our B&RB. We went to this place and had a couple of brews, this really nice brewery, and we took some pictures. And he was telling me, oh, some people are never going to invite you down to anything. I'm like, oh man, I don't care. Really, really a good time. Okay. And that place got flooded out like 2 weeks after that was done and everything. But point being, I mean, he made such a good second impact on me. And he's like, hey, Barry, you want to go see the Brown Mountain? So we went and saw that. That was a unique experience. And he was really, really cool in that way. And he was telling me about some people that hurt him and stuff. And I became a little bit kind of defensive of him. You know what I mean? He was a
mhm,
good cat. I did an interview with him. He talked me into doing this interview. He was good. He was trying to blend things together. And before I wrap this up, I'm saying this because this is stuff I told him personally a couple of
mhm,
times, okay, in person and online too. And then we did this show. The last time I actually talked to him, your show.
yeah,
And when we started off, I just told him, "Hey, I know what I wasn't always a big fan of yours, but you totally made a second impression on me, and that's not easy with me, okay." And what I mean. I just am. I mean, I'm a pretty good judge of people and character, as you well know. But
mhm,
sometimes, hey, I can make mistakes too. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And I just really told him that I think he did really good work. He was doing good work. He had a huge fan base that he built himself. And
yeah,
like we were talking about one-on-one in person, I said, man, I really respect that because I can research this stuff, and I know you didn't buy your subscribers; they're real. He's, oh no, Barry, I didn't know that they're real. I worked real hard on it. You know, he's always real excited.
Yeah.
But I mean, just really, he was cool. We still kept communicating after the conference, and he wanted me to try to make it to his. I didn't get to make it though, but he was a good cat. He really was. And the last thing I'll say about this, all right, you know, Jessica, I thought about that cat all night.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. And you told me just before I did a live yesterday, and you told me just minutes before I went live.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't to be mentioned at that time, but I couldn't stop thinking about him during that, and especially the subject I was dealing with too. And I just kept hoping it kind of wasn't true, you know? But when that says a lot about who he was, the fact that it hit so many people when he passed, and we're all thinking about him, and people going to looking more into his work and what he was doing and what he was saying will live on and grow. And I think that's really important, but that's what real people do. People with integrity and heart do. They touch others, touch other people's lives. And when their energy leaves the containment body, it goes out and touches us all. And that happens with great people. You know what I mean? That's a characteristic of a great person. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on so long about it, but it was a really kind of a cool story, my whole deal with him. That cat totally grew on me, and I really liked him. You know what I mean? And I just think that needs full acknowledgement what a unique, cool cat he was, you know?
It does. That was wonderful, Barry.
I would hope when I go out, I have that effect on people. Yeah. At least close. You know what I mean? Because it's honorable.
Absolutely. He touched a lot of lives, and he always will be a pioneer in the disclosure community, especially in regard to the secret space program. And this was the last time. This was actually the last night that I got to hang out with James, and I was privileged to be asked to join him down at his conference down in Florida a couple of months ago, and it was a wonderful event. And this was the last night that we were there. I had dinner. I sat beside James for dinner that night, and we had a really good time. And of course, he was not feeling well while we were down there. He did suffer from some health problems and stuff, and he got very ill right before the conference and was in the hospital, but made it down to the conference, and I'm glad that he did. But yes,
he looks decisively different in that picture than when I saw him the year before. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and I'm sorry that he went through that.
Me too. Well, if you guys haven't gotten your copy of Lone Wolf, y'all, I was going to have James autograph this the next time I saw him, and I'll never be able to do that now. But please get a copy of this if you'd like to know James's story. And I have not read this yet. I haven't had a chance to. I got this down at the conference, and it's called Lone Wolf, Alpha Squad Copy Over, James Rink. And yeah, and any chance I get, I will, if I ever have like a holiday or something, we have a replay kind of show, I will be playing some of James's shows that we did together. And in the future, I do have Jimmy Payne scheduled to come back on the show. You know, Jimmy and James were very close as well, and Jimmy's coming on with me here in the next month or so. And so we're gonna keep this disclosure going, y'all. Okay, and in honor of James, we'll do that.
I would ask anybody that actually watched the last show that we all did together, because I told him that at the beginning. I'd already told him before privately, but I told him during your show, and that's just kind of the interactions him and I had. So it was really positive and good, and I think that's what it's all about when we start bringing the different. Because when he wanted me on the show, I was like, he said, but it'll take me probably a year to edit it though. I'm slow with it. People get mad, but I'll get it up. I was like, that's fine, you know. But he wanted to he's trying to bring, like I was bringing the different experiences together. That's really important because it's a tapestry. So that's the kind of good interactions him and I had. So, you know, and to be honest with you, the cat was funny. He made me laugh quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've had so much fun with him. I mean, I was just going through all my pictures. I was trying to find pictures from the first time that we met at the Journey to Truth conference with you and I, Barry, was the first time we met him. And I think the first night we were there, he was breakdancing in that
I didn't see that.
I was like, who is that guy? I was like, who is that guy in there? He's breakdancing, you know, and super impressed with his breakdancing skills there.
He even had his glove. He was spinning on the glove. Yeah,
he did. And then And I mean, he was so much fun to be around, y'all. If you didn't know James personally, he was so fun to be around, and consequently, every single event that I went to after that, and even like vacations that I took, James was always there. He popped up every single place that I went. We took vacations. We did, trips to Montauk. I mean, that was a very special week up there at Montauk, and
Jessica, out in Asheville, he was telling me, he's like, Barry, I got a technique that I think will call the Sasquatch in out there. And he took everybody waltzing way out there to those mountains. And I didn't go because, I'm sorry, it was just a little too wet. Some people are walking without shoes on. And a brother like me, I can't do the barefoot thing. Honestly, a lot of brothers can't. Anyway, but I didn't have protection around the feet. But he took everyone out there. And a lady named Jan that I'd been actually giving me rides, pick me up and stuff. And she was really good friends with Christy. But she was very much empathic and very telepathic. I think a whisperer, honestly. And she started picking up strong Sasquatch energy out there after James did this his little technique you wanted to try. And so did some other people. Because, in those conferences like that, you get a group of people that are, telepaths, psychics, mediums, contactees. That's what's cool about those conferences. So you get people that are on a higher level. And they start having a lot of Sasquatch interactions. I can remember Jan asking me before that when I first met her and her husband. She said, what can I possibly learn about Sasquatch, or why would they interact with me? And she's tripped out because people were asking her to talk about it or something. She knew nothing about it, she kept saying. I said, well, they can sure teach you about the land. And then we were sitting at that place where James took me and having lunch. And she said, I started dreaming about them and that stuff he told me about them being keepers of the land. And she started to have this total encounters out there. And so the whole thing had wound up being a ending part of that conference, the ending ceremony. That was because of James. So it was really cool,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's an interesting place, too.
It was, yeah. James had a great way of bringing people together, too. And I really do appreciate that. It was awesome. And he actually made it a point to come see me at some of my events. He traveled a great distance to come see me at a UFO conference in North Georgia and the Bigfoot conference and stuff. He always went out of his way to come support me. And so I always tried to support him as much as I could too. So yeah. So rest in peace to James, my good friend.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Donna. Donna says, I love you all. Sending love out to y'all and healing energies. Blessings to everyone in this chat and whomever watches this video later. Thank you, Donna. That's very sweet of you. We appreciate that. Okay. Well, I know James is appreciating all this and he is watching us right now. I know he is. Okay. That's what Long Island Bigfoot just said too. Saw that. And Mike was a good friend too. Long Island Bigfoot, Mike and I went with James one night. And I'll bring Mike on to talk about this one day soon. We were in Montauk and we went out one night, just me and Mike and James. And we went to Indian Rock called Council Rock. And I swear I was so worried we were going to get kidnapped. I literally thought we were going to get kidnapped that night, Barry. It was weird. I've never felt like I was a grown woman going to get kidnapped, except for up there. We were doing, it was like I was hearing voices. We were, we're looking for Bigfoot, ghost activity. We're doing all this kind of like a paranormal investigation kind of. But we were right beside this like Illuminati hotel called the Montauk Inn or something. I don't even know. And I was just convinced there were people watching us out there. It was the weirdest feeling. And so it's actually a good memory looking back on that because I was a little scared. I'm not going to lie, Barry. I was a little.
Yeah, it's interesting because to be quite honest with you, I didn't.
Montauk Manor.
I didn't care for the Brown Mountain Lights area. it's like somewhere if somebody would come up missing, it seemed like if I was a teenager, I definitely would be going there to make out. You know what I mean? It was kind of just a creepy place.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't interesting, and saw some interesting anomalies there, especially when we first were getting out of the car. But I just wouldn't, want to hang out there too long. Just a bit creepy.
Yeah. Well, we stayed out there for a while. It was fun. It was a good time, and I've had some wonderful memories with him. And
yeah. When he comes up to me, he comes up to me and he has his bag. Barry, he said, man, I really just want to go get some real food. Are you down with that? I said, yeah, I'm down with it, man. And we rolled out to get some. We got some steaks. Yeah, and he knew that whole area because he's from there, so it was it's quite interesting. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Another lady named Missy Hill, really cool. She had probably some of the coolest 3D binoculars, several different sets of them I've ever seen. And we're all standing out there watching like a lot of UFO activity out there in those mountains too. Quite interesting, Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can reminisce forever, my friend.
I know, I could too. Amy says, do you guys remember the last show that he did with me? Yeah, and his funny skits to make us all laugh. He was so sweet. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you, Amy. Yeah, James came on here. I had Jimmy Payne on last time. It was only a month ago. He was on my show, and Melissa came on with him. And Melissa and James they had on there. I mean, they saw me that I was dressed up like Spearfinger, so they hurriedly got their hats, and they were their witches, or wizards from Harry Potter, and they did a little skit. Every now and then we would pause the show with Jimmy so they could do a skit. It was funny. It was actually kind of funny. And Jimmy couldn't hear because the audio was weird, and so he was like, "What are they doing?" I was like, "Don't worry, it has nothing to do with the show. Just give us a second, Jimmy. We'll get back to the show." But it was really sweet, and yeah, he was a wonderful person, man, wonderful person. So, all right, well, let's lighten the mood a little bit, okay? Because I have some weird stuff to talk about today, Barry. Very weird. This was something that I heard last week, and I could not get this off my mind. But it was Thanksgiving, and I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving, Barry.
Yeah, I did. I hope you did too. Actually, I did.
Thank you. I did. Mine was busy. I ate too much. Okay.
Yeah.
And I cooked too much. But like I told the audience earlier, I do not watch Jimmy Kimmel. I just don't like him for some reason. I don't know. He's annoying to me. But I don't watch any late night. I don't watch any TV period anyways. Okay. But he had Kate Beckinsale on. I know, right? I don't even watch TV. Okay. But Jimmy Kimmel had Kate Beckinsale on, and Barry, I love Kate Beckinsale from the Underworld movies.
Yeah.
The Underworld where she's like I don't know, she's a vampire. The lichens and the vampires and stuff are all fighting. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful set of movies. There's like 3 of them, I think.
They are pretty good, actually. She's really quite attractive too, I think. Oh
yeah, she's pretty. She's pretty. Okay, but
I like the outfits they had her in. I thought maybe she was got a remote view for Far Side.
Oh my God. Do behave, Barry. Behave. Behave.
Okay, sorry, just kidding.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen on that one. Okay. Let's see. Let's share our screen here. You're terrible.
Sorry,
okay, so here's the article. Here's the article. If you guys can see this, Kate Beckinsale says that her daughter's boyfriend was scared after he laid 2 eggs in a week. Okay, what is this, Barry? This is crazy.
Her boyfriend, the male laid
her daughter's. Yes, a man. A man. Okay, so I know y'all. Where do I come up with this stuff? I don't know. This is just in the news. Could this be just for people trying to get attention? I mean, she's in the news. We're talking about her. Is she just trying to get, her name out there again? Probably. But it's the British Star claims.
That's rough, isn't it?
It's rough. The British Star claims that her 26-year-old daughter's boyfriend left doctors baffled after allegedly laying 2 eggs. Now, we're going to get into this because it's weird. Look, here's the key points. This is on parade.com. Kate Beckinsale revealed her daughter's boyfriend allegedly laid 2 eggs in a week. The boyfriend claimed the eggs looked real with shells and yolks, causing confusion. Beckinsale and doctors investigated. Even Jimmy Kimmel was stunned by photographic evidence. Now, they would not show the audience this photographic evidence.
Hold on, go back. Shells and yolks. So what do they do? They fry them up? They fry them up, or what do they?
We're going to get to it. Hold on. Let's read this article, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Kate Beckinsale stopped by Jimmy Kimmel Live on Monday, November 24th, while fans were busy obsessing over her ultra glam bow and towering boots, because that's all people really care about is her outfit. It was her unexpected confession that sent the internet into full confusion mode. The 52-year-old British actress casually revealed that her daughter, Lily Sheen, who she shares with actor Michael Sheen, has a boyfriend who laid 2 eggs in a week. While she didn't name drop him on air, Lily has been publicly linked to David Schechter since 2019.
Who the hell's that?
Well, we're about to find out. Okay, so Kimmel had simply asked Lily if Lily, 26, was at the age where Beckinsale now had to share her with another family. Beckinsale nodded and explained that Lily's boyfriend had somehow made the list of the only 5 people she has ever yelled at, 3 producers, an ex-husband, and him, she said, before adding that despite that moment, she loves him and considers him family. Then she took a beat and dropped the line that stunned the audience, the studio audience. He laid 2 eggs in a week. This is the video. If you guys want to go check this out, I can I'll put the link in the, well, here, we'll do this later. I'll put this in the chat in just a second. Kimmel, oh God, Lord, sorry, y'all. Kimmel immediately tried to clarify who did. She said the boyfriend did. When he asked if this was some kind of British thing, she shot that down quickly. She said, no, he's from New Jersey. He's a Jew from New Jersey, she said, adding that she had already done a poll to make sure this wasn't connected to anything cultural. She then walked Kimmel and everyone watching through what actually happened. I mean, this is just weird, Barry, right? All right, let's see. So this is what happened. The boyfriend went into the bathroom, panicked, and announced, I've laid an egg. Beckinsale thought he was joking until she heard the details. The object had a full shell. It's got a yolk, and looked at it, came out the bit that it would come out of a hen. She said, was genuinely scared, crushed it to see the inside, and confirmed there was a yolk, like a hard boiled one. She noted, explained, I know this is gross. This is gross, y'all. I'm sorry. But she explained, I mean, why would a perfectly sane person go on a national, worldwide TV show and say this, Barry? If it didn't happen, I don't know. But she said it was like a hard boiled one. It seemingly was cooked inside him, she said. A week later, while Lily was flying back to New York, Beckinsale received another text. He's done it again. That second egg caused an even bigger panic. His father tried to float a theory involving an open window and a stray egg falling in the toilet, which she dismissed immediately. You're very quick with this. You clearly are putting eggs up your son's butt in the night. Oh my God, I can't believe I just read that out loud. I'm so sorry, y'all. She asked if he was doing it for attention. He insisted that he wasn't. And then she texted several doctors she knows, and those doctors passed the mystery along to their medical school friends. The whole of America was involved, she told Kimmel. And Kimmel asked if pictures existed. She pulled out her phone and offered to show him privately because it was quite medical. He leaned in, took one look, and immediately dropped his jaw. What in the world? It's an egg. Okay. And that's the story. They're sticking to it. It is absolutely crazy and ridiculous, and I don't even know what to think about this. Okay. I don't know, Barry. What? Okay. I'm bringing this up. Let's go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing. I'm bringing this up because I had to look into reptiles laying eggs, right? What is this?
I had to get my composure. I had to beat myself for a long time.
What is your reaction to this? I mean, I know I was laughing too, but then I wasn't, because I was like, what the heck? Because why would this woman?
Because you looked up how reptilians lay eggs, right?
Because look at the website open right now.
I'm not even trying to be funny, but it sounds like it, but I'm not. So let me get this straight. So was he crapping eggs? Is that what it was?
She said it came out the same. I mean, if that's how a hen lays an egg out, it's
just they were pre-cooked, right? Man, that's one hot ass. It cooks eggs. Okay, sorry.
We're getting technical over here.
Let's talk about reptiles and the connections that you made, though. I want to hear it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Dan said this clown world gets stupider by the day. It really does. It's just odd. Like I can't even look at the comments right now. I'm cracking up. Please. Please.
Oh.
I'm not going to say stop because keep them coming. I think they're hilarious, but I'm just trying to keep my composure right now. Okay.
I literally brought tears.
It's been a really rough couple of days, y'all. Okay. And I needed something to lighten the mood, y'all, because it's been a rough couple of days. Okay.
You succeeded on that, my friend.
I succeeded.
I mean, that could like ruin her career, man. She might just be mentally ill. You know, I mean,
yeah. Kate Beckinsale, like, I mean,
a few too many years in the underworld.
It's just very odd. I mean, if you want to get attention that way, I don't know. I mean, but why would she also mention that he was Jewish as well, which is kind of weird. You know what I mean? She was like, he's from New Jersey and I mean, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but I'm just saying, like, just the description was just it was kind of odd. Like all of this is just very odd. And for her to like, be like, well, and then he dropped another one. We thought it was a joke until the second one came, and then we had to take it seriously. And now all these medical professionals are looking into it.
Let's see some documentation on that. Who? I mean, what medical professionals? Where? What hospital? Where? Who? You know what I mean? These are things we need some.
It's
receipts.
Under HIPAA. It's probably under HIPAA, Barry. We'll never find out.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, HIPAA. So somebody, hey, we got a guy over here that crafts eggs, pre-cooked or after cooked eggs. But hey, let's keep that hidden definitely. This is crazy. That's too bad. This could hurt her career.
I mean, it could, but I mean, I'm just saying, let's look into this for a second, okay?
Hey,
And
I want to hear about your connection between the reptilian.
Oh, we're going there. Don't you worry.
Okay, yeah.
Reptile Explorer. Okay, I do have a website pulled up. Okay, I had to look at. I was like, well, they say that people in Hollywood are reptilian, right? And what if this is? I mean, my gut tells me. I always go with my gut now. My gut tells me, well, maybe this is some kind of disclosure. You know, we were talking about this 3-eye atlas, Barry, and I'm only making this connection because my remote viewing data claim this. Other people are claiming they believe there's reptilians involved in 3-eye atlas. Okay, well, 3-eye atlas will be closest to Earth on December the 18th. What if? I'm not saying this is true. This is all for entertainment purposes only. But what if they're just kind of like going to slow drip this whole reptilian thing out here? Do you know what I mean? They're trying to kind of be like, oh, it's just normal for men to poop out snake eggs or whatever. I don't know. Reptilian eggs.
I was trying not to say that. I can't stay serious on this. You're gonna get me, and people are gonna boo the hell out of me. Look. I'm supposed to ask you. So when Atlas 3 gets here, when it gets to this closest perigee to Earth, does that mean all of a sudden a bunch of men are gonna start shitting eggs? After cooked eggs?
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, listen, as cryptid researchers, we have to take this a little seriously. A little bit, right? I mean, it's in the news. Why not?
Hey. So what similarities do you see in the reptilian thing? So I want to keep going with this definitely, because especially like what's the temperature of their eggs when it comes out and yada yada.
No, let's look here. Let me. So I was looking into like, well, do all reptiles lay eggs, and like, can a male reptile lay eggs? I don't think so. I couldn't find anywhere where a male reptile would be laying eggs, but I don't know. I was only finding female reptiles, but I mean, who knows? And that's what the eggs look like too. They're actually long. I don't know why that says jockey on there. Oh my God.
That would hurt to hold that one in the gut. Boy, in the bowel, in the bladder, in the bowel, that would tear up a bowel hard.
Well, let's just look at snakes, for instance. Snake egg laying habits vary widely against species across species, and they prefer secluded, damp spots for laying eggs, and they have to be the right temperature. Okay. Oh man, they're different. Okay, different types of snakes do different things. Okay, and here we go with lizards. Let's look at lizards because we're talking about lizard people, right? Lizards have some pretty cool ways of nesting. Take the common iguana. These guys are tiny excavators using all four limbs to dig deep holes for the eggs. It's impressive how they create underground nurseries to keep their eggs safe and just the right temperature. I don't know. A toilet probably is not the right temperature for an egg. I'm just saying. And they said many species lay their eggs and take off, leaving the little ones to figure things out on their own from day one. It's a tough world out there, baby lizards. And on the flip side, some lizard parents are real homebodies, and they stay until their babies hatch. And yeah, I don't know. I really could not find where male lizards would be laying eggs in any instance. I don't know. I know this is kind of taking it off the deep end, of course, talking about this, but why would that woman say that? Why would she say that? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And she's showing them pictures of eggs, and they're like, "Oh yeah, those are real eggs," and they were shocked by it. So, I don't know. Does that mean Godzilla was laid by a human male? I don't know, William. Probably not. Maybe a hybrid. Maybe a hybrid. I thought he was birthed from the toxic nuclear waste, wasn't he?
He was supposed to be some sort of a species that underwent mutation augmentation from the genetic from the bombs, the radiation.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's actually a name of his species he's supposed to be. You know, when I was a kid, there was a cartoon that was called Godzilla, and it was this little stupid thing that was like not his son, but it was one of him. It's called Godzuki. But if you look up Godzuki, there's a name that comes with him that's supposed to be the species that Godzilla is. That got irradiated by that stuff. It was kind of stupid because Godzuki could like only blow smoke rings. It was ridiculous.
Oh my god,
it was ridiculous.
So
anyway,
I guess this fella, Kate's daughter's boyfriend, was laying poopzillas. Just kidding. I don't know. Oh man, I tell you what. Thank you, Amy. Amy says, Jess, some high temperatures can cause genetically male reptiles to develop into functional females and lay eggs. Oh my god.
Because I was wondering at some point that some of them were capable. I thought of asexual reproduction.
Wow.
I thought, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not an expert on reptilians or even amphibians for that matter. And you know, also, who knows? Wow. Since we're also dealing with a species that's not Terran, isn't all bets off on how their entire reproduction cycle would be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
I think so. Oh, here we go. Oh, Dan, that's Iguanodon. Thanks, William. Dan says, fun fact about Komodo dragons, they can reproduce without a male. It's called parthenogenesis, I think. Worth looking up. Thank you, Dan. Okay, so yeah. So they can. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right, Judy. Hollywood tells us in interesting ways. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we've had so much soft disclosure about stuff, and it comes off as a joke, but then decades down the line, we're finding out that some of these things are real. You know, they've been giving us breadcrumbs for a long time, and like this is just too random, and I'm too suspicious of this.
Well, you there you had to take us there, bring up Hollywood references. So another one I will give for this situation in particular. A movie that I always really liked that I thought never got the credit it should be. Enemy Mine. Even you had to have seen that one. Enemy Mine with Dennis Quaid and the great late Louis Gossett Jr. Louis Gossett Jr. played a species called Drax, and he did this thing where he would curl his speech. And it's something he said he learned how to do as a kid. But he used that to be this Drac. And the Drac was asexual reproductive parthenogenesis, but he was a male. I remember when he's telling him, "Oh, I'm pregnant," and Dennis Quaid is looking at him, "Hey man, don't look at me," you know. But it was all about that movie. It was a really good movie. because it was about bringing the human species and the Drax together and stopping the warring. And these two got trapped on this planet. I know there's got to be a bunch of people in your audience that remember Enemy Mine. You haven't said nothing, so that means you didn't even see that one, Jones.
I did not. I admit. Never heard of it.
Down, Jones.
Never heard of it.
Hey, seriously, it's a good one to look up and take out of the archives and check out. The special effects might be a little 80-ish, but hey, 80-ish, but hey, it's all right. It's really a good movie. Excuse me, good movie, and the writing is superb. So, anyway.
Well, I'll check it out for sure. I wanted. Jay Truesiger says this is an interesting comment. Female Dracos lay eggs in the males, who then try and incubate them until they are relayed again before hatching. Well, that is very interesting. That is very interesting. That's wild. I mean,
where does that information come from?
I don't
I'm curious.
know,
Where does that come from? What's the origin of that? Just curious.
There's some very interesting comments in the chat today too. Thank you, Zinja. What if they put this is a what if. This is all for entertainment purposes only. What if they put reptilian DNA to the you know what and make people transgender interesting to think about that too? I don't know. Here's the thing. Here's some facts right here. There have been large traces of like atrazine in the water. Okay, I've seen plenty of studies with that, and that does change. I don't know if it changes the gender of frogs, but it does something to the frogs. I know I was watching InfoWars back then when they started busting the lid off that story. Okay, and and I remember that. But there's something.
Sorry, I got distracted with this deal. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You lost me. You went over my head.
The atrazine was making the frogs start. I don't know if they were like changing their sex or they were like mating with the same sex of the frogs. I don't know what was going on, something like that. But it was something in the water, so it could be. That's something that was added to I think it was added to the water systems because of like runoff from fertilizers and stuff, maybe. But I'm not sure. Okay, so anyways, this was in the news. I think it is 100% worth talking about because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But then if you know what we know about how ridiculous Hollywood is, and they do drop little breadcrumbs for us, and sometimes it turns out to be disclosure decades down the line. What purpose would she have in talking about this young fella who dropped 2 eggs out of him in the toilet? Okay, so yes.
Maybe it's Louis Gossett Jr. reincarnated or something. I don't know.
Yes.
That's just the similarity I see there. That's why I asked where the information about the Draco is even coming from, because it sounds very similar in some ways to that movie. And I think that trying to sometimes put in between, wow. This has been an interesting day. It's been so active all day. It's fascinating. Anyway,
Are you getting some paranormal activity over there?
No, I'm getting these calls from Jimmy Church. Keeps calling. I'm not talking to him in a while.
Oh,
it's just interesting how things just kind of come through. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't know. I'll definitely mention you to him. I think it'd be nice for you two to make each other's acquaintance. Jimmy's really cool. He's like you too. He's a good interviewer also. Anyway, sorry. It was that and just other things. So I've had to monitor caretaker. I've had to watch my phone as we're doing this. So that's all.
Well, you'll definitely have to bring up the man who laid 2 eggs last week.
Yeah, I wouldn't want anyone to miss that. Right along with the thing that was locked up in the safe, right?
Yeah, definitely let him know that a man in New Jersey has dropped 2 eggs out of his body. Okay, this is important, groundbreaking, hot topic news right now. So who knows? He may cover it on his show tonight. Who knows?
2 eggs and a ham bone. Goodness.
Yes. Okay.
So you keep going, Jones. I'm all yours. I'm all ears on the laying the egg laying dude of, I must tell you, I mean, talk about diverticulitis. He must be really in bad shape, man. He passing eggs through your bowel. You're in bad shape.
That would hurt. That would hurt. But I've also had a child. I've had a baby, so like it can't be that bad. Okay. But anyways, Chicky Blue says, just for the record, remember when Jim Carrey was exposing the Illuminati on Jimmy Kimmel? Kate is doing the same, and Jimmy is the bait. Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah. Could be. That is a place, and they do. I think that Brown Bigfoot Dwarf had said earlier. I think it was BD said that he broadcast his show at a Masonic temple in Los Angeles, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think BD said that in the beginning of the show today. So it's all very much ritualistic, y'all. Okay, and if I've learned anything, it's got everything to do with rituals and stuff. So, and it all could just be for us to get her name back in the news and get her in the rotation of talking about her because there's a movie coming out. Could be that too.
Think she's that desperate for another gig?
I don't think so. She's a pretty famous actress. Yeah,
it's pretty desperate for another gig there, man. I don't think it's going to do any bonuses for her resume personally. That's just me.
I know, right? I know. It's just gross and weird. Okay, but nonetheless, all right. Well, there's a couple of other things that I've seen. Listen, I was scrolling through TikTok, okay, over the weekend, and I came across some interesting stories. Okay, and one of them was about, and I'd seen this before. Thank you, Bigfoot Dwarf, next to the Hollywood Masonic Temple at the El Capitan Theater, the El Captain Theater. Thank you, BD. I appreciate that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's see. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the medieval knights potentially being reptilian. Okay. Now I know this sounds really weird and really crazy. And let's see if I have some pictures. Okay. So there is an actual bust. There's I don't know if it's carved out of marble or something, but some kind of artwork in a chapel in Florence, Italy. They're depictions of what looks like worms or reptilians inside of armor. Now, you guys know what armor, y'all know what kind of armor I'm talking about, like knights in shining armor that knights used to wear back in the day when they would fight dragons. They go slay the dragons and go save the princess from the tower. Well, we've even got, depictions of like knights and like Game of Thrones, or like zombie knights and stuff like that too. Some people are saying that they've been looking at some of these like coats of armor, and the helmets, like where the eyes would be, are like up too high or they're down too low. The arms are too long for humans. The legs are too long for humans. Like everything's out of proportion, and it doesn't make sense that humans would wear this armor. Now there is this artwork, this bust, and it's actually supposed to be of a knight outside of his armor, and it's got this little worm head, okay, like a little worm head. And so the theory is, and I mean, I've actually read this before, but I came across this on this TikTok, and I was like, oh my gosh, we need to talk about this when next time we bring up the reptilians. And so from what I read was that the knights, some knights used to sleep in their armorberry. They never took this armor off, and people would never have direct contact with these knights unless they had their armor on. And so some people were theorizing that the armor is actually an exoskeleton, and they were like alien life forms, or either reptilians inside of this armor. What do you think? Have you ever heard this theory, Barry? And what do you think about it?
Yes, to a degree. Credo Mudua had talked about and shown some illustrations of reptilians that are supposed to be in this type of armor. And it was like, he showed the different classifications, but one of them was, I can't remember if it was the ones that had the bumps on their head, like the Kemposaurus, but he showed some of them like having like this armor on. So, I mean, I've seen other depictions and caricatures of that throughout the years too, them having that, and even some statues showing them like that, having inside of the thing actually a reptilian inside. So that, I think that's very, very interesting. We start dealing with also the different type of astronaut suits, uniforms, AKA, that have been worn down here When does that begin and end? And that was a very
Yeah.
interesting picture you had just showed. And it's odd because that reminds me of something different than exactly the reptilian. And a lot of people, you've got cool people in your audience, so somebody will know what I'm talking about. There is one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek, the Next Generation. It's called Conspiracy. And during that, what they have is there's these type of beings that are almost worm-like, but there's some type of symbiote that are similar to the symbiotes that were on Deep Space Nine, Jax, but they're the symbiote that was on Next Generation. Jax was her name, the lady. Anyway, but the symbiote was called something different. But anyway, it was worm like that, but these other species were supposed to be like that. And when they actually are digested, then they get onto like the spine and start controlling the person's entire nervous system and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they did something similar to that on Star Trek 2 with Khan. He's putting these things in people's ears, but that was a little bit different. Okay. This one here, that's similar. And just to even get more weird, there was something with Vincent Price, an old movie, black and white movie called The Tingler. And the Tingler was supposed to sit kind of like that. It looked more centipede-like, but it was supposed to sit on the spine, kind of similar to this. That's just the way that strikes me for some reason. Or even a face hugger, maybe.
Yeah, that's what somebody was saying, a chest burster or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and it reminds me of the vril parasite as well, the vril, which is something else. So they say that they put that little thing in your eye.
What does the vril parasite look like exactly?
It looks like that thing, or whichever direction I'm pointing at.
I'm not real hip on all the viral stuff because some of that turns me off to a degree. But
okay,
so please educate me a bit.
Okay,
I wonder if it looks similar to the Hydra vulgaris. Hydra vulgaris. Anyone look that up? That looks like these beings I've seen on people astral and energetically. And they also look similar to the creatures, the Sentinels on the Matrix, Hydra vulgaris. And that's been found in some things that people are,
Okay, I've got a picture right here. The vril parasite. This is for entertainment purposes only, once again. Now, it actually does look a lot like that little thing that was sticking out of that armor right there, actually. This is supposed to be a picture of it right here, that little parasite. Now, this one right here is supposed to be like, it looks like a stingray, some people said. Other people said that's actually a vril. But this little parasite, it looks like it has a face on it and a little tail, and it looks very much like that thing that was sticking out of that suit of armor there. The reptilian vril proboscis brain parasite.
What does it do? What does it do exactly?
Well, here's what they say, Duke. You ever heard of the Black Eye Club? They say that, there's a picture right here of something going into somebody's eyeball right there. If you can see my screen, I was trying to circle it with my cursor. Okay, they say that they would basically get held down, whether willingly or against your will, and they stick this vril proboscis thing into the eyeball. And then you have all these world leaders and actors and everybody who have these black eyes. They call them the Black Eye Club because they've been taken over by this vril parasite, which takes the consciousness, the soul out of your body. And then this lizard is supposed to be reptilian, I think, the real reptilian being takes over your body, basically. And you become a puppet to whatever that vril is right there. This is Salvador Dali holding up a vril, allegedly. The famous artist right there. I've actually been to the Salvador Dali Museum down in St. Petersburg, Florida. But anyways, that's what the vril is.
What happens to the soul again?
Well, they say that this thing takes over your body. I don't know what happens to your soul. I think the person actually dies.
So it takes over the autonomic effects.
Yes.
Or functions. Gotcha.
Yes, it does. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now, Daryl James has been on my show talking about this before. We talked about the vril parasite and the vril lizard, and he said that I think he was out drinking one night or something, and he said that somehow he ended up in somebody's house or something, and he saw this little lizard sitting on the table. They were trying to hold him down and put the parasite in his eye. Okay, and so he had firsthand knowledge of this right here. But nonetheless, it's that little parasite that looks kind of like that thing on that body from the armor artwork out of the chapel. Yeah,
that's very interesting. I have heard about the eye parasite before, but I didn't know that's what it was called. This viral parasite, and I didn't know it looked quite like that either. I'd heard it was like something like, I don't know if it's maybe a centipede-like or so it's worm-like. I got you.
It's kind of like a tadpole or something is what it looks like to me, or a worm.
I mean, I got to tell you, when we start looking at things, especially the new organic xenobots, that looks like that could very much be a technology like that. One of those type of things like that is partially organic, partially xenobot in a way. Once that stuff starts going organic, that's very interesting. Wow. And it's too bad. What a horrible way. And that's almost like exactly what that conspiracy was. Once those things got on people, like the people were still kind of there, but they were completely subdued.
Yes.
And all the economic functions are being done by, so that's interesting.
It's kind of like Venom, right? Venom from
I'm going to look more into that. I'm going to look more into that because I want to see if I can connect it to also to some how it might also connect to the frequency if they emit frequencies that are like radio frequencies or non-human frequencies that could be detected by a non-linear junction detection technology. That would be very interesting to find this out because somebody's going to know. Because I honestly, with you, I don't think that's not real. To be real honest, I think that's very real.
Well, they say that we talk about like how are all these world leaders and stuff. You just saw the Black Eye Club. Okay, this is all a conspiracy, y'all. Okay, and it's all for entertainment purposes only, of course. But right. But they say that you got to get in that club, you got to do it. It's like that whole Shaluminati thing we were just talking about a while ago. The Shaluminati.
Kind of like to be a Sangoma, you got to eat the flesh of a gray, right? And have the ecstasy experience that's like 3 times DMT or ayahuasca and lasts a lot longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think that maybe when we say like our world leaders are reptilians and stuff like that, maybe some of them are that way because they've gotten a little parasite in their eyeball or something. I don't know. It's just a theory,
So question: who is it that designed the vril parasite? The vril?
I know, right?
No, but seriously, who designed it? Was it reptilians or who designed that technology, or was it humans, or who designed it?
Well, if you go back, okay, so like when I was showing that website, or I was showing the images, I clicked on the images, right? And a lot of those will show like the Egyptians. They connect it with like the Egyptians. So I don't know if it goes back like to them or before that or what. I have no idea.
Okay. So when what's interesting about this? When looking at that thing, I'm kind of correlating it with something else. Okay. There is a creature that is associated with actually voices as well, and it looks somewhat similar to that. And it's oh gosh, we'll see if I can maybe find it in my deal.
Yeah,
it's a specific name. It's got like almost the head of like a lion and the tail of a snake, and it just looks somewhat similar to that. And I can't think of what it's called.
The demiurge, right? The demiurge.
How do you spell that, Jessica?
DEM demiurge. DEMIURGE. I don't know. William Nighthawk's in the chat. William came on my show and we talked about the demiurge actually. And yes, it's a chimera. That's right. Thank you, May. Yeah, the demiurge. Look that up. And it's a worm with a lion's head. And I told William, I said, that looks like the vril parasite. He said, he asked me, he was like, what does this remind you of? And I was like, it reminds me of the vril parasite.
Yes,
So
there
that's
it is.
funny. You
Okay,
made
yes, you're right.
yes.
You're right. I've got it in my database.
So you've made the same exact connection that I made. Thank you, Barry. Thank you. Thank
Oh
you,
wow.
William.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here I'm gonna try to bring this up and let it show on my
Don't you love
screen.
how we make these connections? I think it's great.
Oh,
And
it's
that way
always
we can
it's always a trip.
we can like really dig into this stuff too in the future, because I see your pulleys working in your brain right now, Barry. I see you.
Well,
And
when the weird brothers, that is.
I'm a weird
Never,
sister, I know.
nothing more than uncovering some more darkness, right?
Well, that's what our world that's what this world is made of, and we need to be
It makes
aware of what's
it makes
going
the brother
on.
go watch Highway to Heaven sometimes. I got to tell you that.
Yeah.
With all honesty, give me some Michael Landon every now and again. Good Lord, man.
Honest
Okay,
content
here it
said,
is.
now
All
we're
right.
all cooking eggs. I hope you guys are hungry. Are y'all hungry
Okay,
today?
and I saw a different representation in this, Jessica, right here.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, it's just similar. It's like almost on a
That's
coin or
it.
something.
That's
Yeah,
it.
but that's the same creature. And this I follow because some people I did that video on voices. Some of my people on Patreon turned me on to, and on YouTube too, turned me on to Jerry Marzinski. He's actually referred me a couple of clients. That's not intimidating. Anyway, no, but seriously, when doing some of the things that are connected to voices and schizophrenics, when he starts removing some of the negative identities, this has come up. That this is one of the creatures that is causing the people's voices. He's connected it with this and also something that Carlos Castaneda called the Flyers. And I've encountered the Flyers myself. They're one of the shadow beings that are more elongated and they're very dense and they like hurl across they jump. They like hurl themselves. And when they land, they kind of have a thump. But Jerry was convinced that them and these beings are behind schizophrenic and the voices that schizophrenics hear quite a bit. So again, that's food for thought. You know what I mean? But it's so
Oh
weird
yeah.
to see that and to compare this to this virile
Real.
parasite thing. And then going back to one other thing, I got to throw in some of the work we've done. You trace back some of these underground labs going back, thousands and thousands and thousands of years beyond that, since before humanity, maybe. So I mean, so things like this, I think, is common work down there. And when you start dealing with the different dimensions of beings and different frequencies that are a little bit lower than here, the lower astral
Yeah.
frequencies, you start dealing with creatures like this.
Oh yeah. Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez,
I
that's creepy enough, ain't it?
Exactly. Yeah. The first time that I saw this when I was looking up the demiurge before the show that William and I did, and he and I started talking, and he said, "What is that? Does that remind you of anything?" And I said, "The vril parasite," because this actually is. This is actually, when you look up the vril parasite, if you just type in vril parasite, this picture comes up sometimes. It is associated directly with the vril. It is.
Wow.
So
What was that?
that was my
all creeped out now, man. So
anyway. Make you jump.
Oh,
well, this is
wow.
but look, my phone's ringing off the hook too. Of course, since James has passed away, I've had a lot of people trying to get in contact with me the past couple of days. So, but that's right, William. Parasite cleanse. That's why church bells were removed from all the churches, and why music changed from 432 to 440. 100%. That is right. And here we go. Here's a picture right here. Why do you think the church bells were all taken out? Back in, I know, around World War II, a lot of bells were confiscated. They were destroyed. They were cracked. They were buried. And then people were told that they were needed to be used to make ammunition for the war. Okay. But what I found out, okay, now it's not like I had to do a lot of digging because we've talked about this before. The giant bells not only emitted healing frequencies, they also produced specific vibrations that repelled demonic beings and countered the shape-shifting abilities of reptilians. There is absolute power in sound, frequency, and vibration. And by taking away all these bells, it allowed for, I guess, the reptilian takeover, I guess. okay, for all these vrills to get their claws in people and stuff. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. That is an interesting picture, though, right?
Man,
They they had a lot less reptilians when those bills were out. I'm just saying.
I think that's interesting. I think it's an interesting correlation. It's weird because it makes me think of something that was an episode of the 1979 Incredible Hulk. He was up in this church and he was sneaking when he shouldn't be doing something, and they started ringing the bell up there. And he was too close to the bell, and he's going like this, and and finally the eyes turn green, and he hulks out and trashes the entire bell.
Oh yeah. Well, and also in Spider-Man, I think it was like Spider-Man 3, maybe. I think it's Venom's in that one, if I'm not mistaken. And it's something to do with like when they start ringing the bells, he starts freaking out and stuff too.
High frequency, high like sounds, Venom can't take. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
He's a parasite. Venom is a parasite, right? I mean,
yeah, symbiotic parasite at that. Yeah.
And so, I mean, well, here, I did a show a while back, and it was like demons are demons parasites, or parasites demons. And we're talking about like all sorts of parasites. We got the real parasite. We have, people are talking about doing these parasite cleanses, and like today, like, I mean, it's almost like you got to be careful what you say, even on YouTube, because you can get in trouble for even talking about that now. Like, this is something that's common in Europe and all over the world. They have actual separate hospitals just for parasite like treatment and recovery. Okay. Because I mean, it is the core to a lot of problems that people have in their health. But here in the US, no, we just eat whatever and have pork that's full of it, and, it's like a common thing. I mean, I've eaten pork my whole life. I've cut back tremendously now. I don't eat it at all anymore. But I used to eat it all the time. It's the cheaper option, and it's delicious. Okay.
Yeah,
but it's full of parasites.
If it's not cooked right, that's something we learned back in school when they do the old trick where they pour the Coke over it.
Oh God!
To watch all the maggots come out of it and start moving around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll ruin your deal for a while.
Yeah, make
you a vegetarian for a little bit after you see that. Oh yeah, that's always one that always gets you.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think any of us are going to be eating eggs anytime soon after this show. Okay, so
I think honestly, and something that we have to be just really aware of is, like when the alliance I deal with was talking about how they go from the micro to the macro. But really, when you start looking at the micro level and the beings that exist there, parasite-wise, like the one I mentioned, Hydra vulgaris, and there are others that really mimic these creatures that are attacking us in the astral and in the ether. You did that show with Jock, and what are the creatures that feed on ether and just exist at that level, that actually feed on our energy field, on our prana, on our orgone, on our loose, all these little terms we like, deadly orgone radiation, the ones that were hanging around the cloud buster that I had built, that started attracting that, getting that DOR energy. Or I guess you could call it loose if you want, but it was collecting it from those nimbus clouds. That's what holds nimbus clouds together. Another reason they have that dark tinge to them, besides just the dirt in there and things like that. You know what I mean? So it's things like that it's fascinating. And these, how many of these creatures can come from the micro to the macro, and they become a real problem and have been bioengineered to be such. We already know there's been a big problem with bio-warfare on this planet for a very long time, and it certainly hasn't stopped now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mamie says bells also grow crops and heal the land. And yes, the bells were specifically Tartarian bells that they were talking about, really like getting rid of all those. And there were we're talking about huge bells. I mean, some people claim that even like the cathedrals that are churches today actually used to be healing centers back in the day. They've been repurposed. And it was because of the bells and the pipe organs and all those frequencies and the reverberation. And, most small towns do still have bells that ring in the main, like in a church or around the courthouse. Usually it's in a church steeple downtown. We have one in my town. It rings every 15 minutes, but it's not a real bell. It's a recording, and it sounds terrible. Okay. I'm not saying it sounds horrible, but it's not a real bell. They've replaced all the actual bells that they used to ring. You have to have I'm not going to say you have to be certified to ring bells, but there's an art to ringing a bell. There's actually an art to it, Barry, especially the big ones.
Where I live, there is a church on every damn corner. I mean, literally, and it blows people away. So hearing bells ring around here ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, real bells. You know what I mean? Yeah, like cathedral type of bells. And what I find even more interesting when you start examining actually the way cathedrals look architecturally, how similar that is to the mansion worlds, that first world of the Bardo that we go to after death. And how many people see, Daniel Brinkley included. My brother has seen something similar. He was just on an OBE, not really a near death, but they see these palaces that are in like on this astral plane. My brother had talked about seeing plants and life just growing immediately in front of him around these palaces, just where life is growing, like almost like on pictures. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I've heard many people describe that the mansion world, the first mansion world, is the mansion worlds as being like that. Daniel Brinkley had even said that. He said, I think I see where the actual architectural idea for some cathedrals come from. It's from actually what exists there on quote unquote these architectural spheres that are the mansion worlds. And we can also take that, we can take that any way we want it, planetarily, frequency, vibrationally, all these ways to call this architectural sphere, and encompass several different aspects. Anyway, sorry.
Wow. That's pretty fantastic. Yeah. We only have, I think we only have one, by the way, we have one church in town that rings their bell. Just one. Okay. We have a lot of churches everywhere. But there's one, it just kind of dominates the whole town. Okay. With that. So I think that we need to bring the bells back, y'all. Okay. Let's bring the bells back. Play music. Okay. Get your singing bowls. Right, Barry?
That's the thing now. Yes. Ring some bowls.
Ring some bowls, y'all.
And enlighten people. I'm seeing that gimmick going on quite a bit. Some of these crooks that are in these communities, these crooks act like they're these gurus. Oh, they're crooks. Act like they're these gurus. They're not good people, but it's okay. Go get near them and they'll ring some crystal bells and it will make you feel better. And then they'll call in some UFOs. It's all good then, right? That's what gurus do. Anyway, sorry.
You're terrible.
That's the first thing let me do. Let me go spend $600 so some fake can ring some crystal bells around me. That's what I need. And I'm by no means putting down the science itself, especially when it comes to halos and using the crystal bowls and bells around the water itself and programming water. I'm not putting that down. I'm just putting down these fakes acting like they're doing that around you. Dong, and they're humming a little like it's supposed to enlighten you. You're going to a SID because they're doing that near you. You understand? Anyway, sorry.
It might help some people. Okay, to each their own. To each their own. Yes, and thank you, Patriot Starfighter.
Jeff Goldblum is Brundlefly.
Oh my gosh! Listen, I've got one more thing I want to cover because I'm going to have to go here in like 2 minutes. Okay, but Patriot Starfighter says some church bell towers have speakers in the bell towers. Sounding recorded bells could be manipulated frequencies. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's a little off. It's not a healing frequency. It's just a frequency, and obviously it irritates me. I'm just kidding. Irritates me because it's not a healing frequency. And I can hear it. Okay, I can hear that. Okay, so before we go today, I did say I was going to pull up a website. We're going to talk about this sci-fi to superpower, these contact lenses real quickly, because we're talking about like interdimensional viewing contacts. We're talking about these reptilians. We're talking about things, even the demiurge and things like that, parasites, demonic beings and things like that, dark entities. Somebody has come up with this science where we might actually could see it. Now, I know we talked about the dicyanin dye goggles a while back. That's my highest watch show on my entire YouTube channel,
really?
Y'all.
That's cool.
Is about the dicyanin dye goggles. Yes.
What
well, here we go. Do you want me? Let's read this real quick. It says, Well, it says from sci-fi to superpower. This is scitechdaily.com. This is actually from May. So this has been about 6 months. These contacts let you see in the dark with your eyes closed. Now, they don't mention that you could see into alternate realities and stuff in this article, but this is what it's based off of. They say, imagine putting on a pair of contact lenses, suddenly being able to see infrared light without any bulky equipment or even a battery. That's possible now due to a breakthrough in lenses developed by scientists that convert invisible infrared into visible colors. Now, here's the thing about this. These contacts actually make it possible to see what most people can't see. People who were testing these out said they could, first of all, see perfectly in the dark. So they're like night vision. Okay. Like night vision contacts, basically, which would be super awesome when I'm out there looking for Bigfoot and Dogman. Okay. I would love to have a set of these, but the people, they said that the company will not release them fully to the public until they can figure out how they can make them where people can only see in the dark and cancel out the strange creatures that people are seeing. They say that the creatures that they're seeing are dark with glowing eyes and long fingers, is what they've reported. They make you see super well in the dark. And when you close your eyes, you can still see through your eyelids at night, Barry. That's weird. They also, like I said, they had to stop testing them because people were going nuts, seeing all this stuff. One tester said that one of the creatures leaped forward at them and went through their body. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, technology has come a long way. Okay. Technology has come a long way, Barry. And I don't even know if I'm ready for that kind of viewing tech. I think I would be for briefly. Okay. But not to wear constantly. And definitely not to sleep in them. You'll never get any sleep if you can see through your eyelids. What do you think about it, Barry?
Two things real quick. One is it brings two things to mind. One would be the bionic eye that the $6 million man, Lee Major, had. And then if you watch the ones that went later than that, he had a son that was more advanced than him that had the infrared capability with the eye also. Okay. Yeah. Taking that and shifting that to something else that, wow, is interesting. And that's Star Trek The Next Generation. LeVar Burton, Okuta Kinte, Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow,
he had this
my favorite.
Ridiculous thing. It was the piece was cheesy. It looked like something I think that you girls wear on your hair, but they turned it into a visor. But what it was supposed to do was convert, because he was blind, but it was supposed to convert electromagnetic images and pulses and infrared spectrum into images that can be utilized by his brain. And that's quite a bit the same technology. Or even if you're looking at like the Predators, they had that, what is the infrared basically scan at their site that they saw in. Yeah. So that's very interesting when dealing with that. I think that's much more believable than somebody crapping eggs, and I think that's the next step. And I wonder how they're going to actually filter out people seeing entities that are there all the time. Just like they said in that movie From Beyond. The beings are here all the time. You just can't see them without the resonator.
That's right.
Frequency. So yeah.
And hey, and here's another good thing is like the creature went right through their body and it didn't hurt them. So it's okay, y'all. They can't touch you. They're just gonna try to jump through you and it doesn't even hurt. So don't worry.
But they're always there and always doing it. And then once we become aware of it, at what point do we start feeling it because we increasing our awareness and perception? It's very, very tricky.
It is tricky. It is. It's tricky. We live in a tricky world.
Swimming with a tank of piranhas all the time. But they're the ones that do attack. They're not harmless.
Yeah. Well, we have to protect ourselves. Maybe playing some frequencies in our homes, and just have some good healing frequencies around you. I mean, I know that I have been hit with a barrage of dark energy the past week or so, and especially the past 24 hours. It's been really rough, y'all. And so I know there's just a lot going on in our world right now, and the more we can learn, the more we know, the better we can do. Okay. And take care of ourselves and our children and our families. And so Barry, thank you so much for being here today and going down this crazy rabbit hole of men having eggs. And I don't know.
I was probably giggling too much during that. I'm sorry.
Fun.
I tried to mute myself.
I was laughing too, man. If we're not laughing, we're crying. Okay. Barry, where can people find you?
You can reach me at barrylittleton13@gmail.com email. I'll be answering a lot of emails today. I'm to the holiday. I'm about like 4 days behind on emails. So I'll be answering a lot of emails there. You can reach me on, check out my work on YouTube. Done a lot of stuff on there. I'm on Patreon under Barry Littleton, YouTube Barry Littleton, and also Instagram and Facebook, all under Barry Littleton. No cool handles or anything.
Awesome. Yeah, y'all go over there and subscribe and give Barry some love. And also, Barry goes live usually on Sundays over there on your channel, Barry. And I'm usually in there in that chat with you.
Thank God, or I don't think I'll be making it. It's like playing Russian roulette when I try to do those lives.
I know. It's fun. I know. We have a good time over there. It's wonderful that you're doing that. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Thanks for help on that. I appreciate it.
Well, of course. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you to everybody who gave super stickers today, and for all the love and the support. I know we've like I said, it's been a very sad past day or so, and so Shelly and Amiriel and also Donna, thank y'all so much for those super stickers. I do appreciate it, and we'll go out today with one more picture of, this is just remember James Rink today, you guys. Say a prayer for James and for his family and all of his friends. And he is very much missed. And we love James very much. There's me and Barry with James the first time we met several years ago at the Journey to Truth conference. And it's been a blessing being friends with James. And
he was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was. He's awesome. I love James. And so you guys, everybody be blessed, and come back and see me on Wednesday. I have Veronica coming on the show. She is a super soldier, potentially has werewolf bloodlines and stuff. And we may have a real werewolf on our show with the bloodlines that was part of some of these super soldier programs. On Wednesday, it's going to be a fantastic show. Y'all please come back and see me at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll be here. Y'all be there, be square. And I'm sending all my love to you guys. Barry, thanks again for being here, and y'all have a great day. We'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
Okay, peace.